The game is lame and absurd, but you spit. You need to sit back and observe a certified pimp. So oh yes he is. I mean that boy does the shit. So messy is. Fresh to death. Ain't nobody fresh as he is. They can't compare. Go get next to him because he's so fly. I mean the boy's so clean. From his white tee home down to those jeans. You see the ice in the pink.
All right. What's good? It's your man's Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience coming to you just a few minutes late tonight, but I'm here in any case. So there you see it. Donald Trump wants to take over Washington, D.C. And let me tell you, it's not a good thing. Hold on, let me get set up here. I should have had this ready before. Where'd it go? Let's see. So yeah, it's the big report tonight, or today. Could be an announcement as early as tomorrow, and that Donald Trump wants to send up to 1,000 troops into Washington, D.C. And this is something that I never would have imagined in my lifetime. We got a president who is literally changing the presidency. He's remaking the presidency into his own private kingship or dictatorship. And let's take a listen at this report that I heard earlier today, and tell me what you think.
President Trump ramps up his threats toward Washington, D.C., saying he's thinking of having his administration take over the city's police department.
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like.
The president is also making plans to step up the federal law enforcement presence in the nation's capital, according to 3 sources familiar with the plan, which one of them says could include personnel from the National Guard, ICE, the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security. Trump angered by a violent attack on a former DOJ employee. Police say 19-year-old Edward Korestein was assaulted by a group of about 10 juveniles during an attempted carjacking in D.C. early Sunday morning.
We just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him.
Police said they have arrested 2 suspects so far, and as they search for the others, the agitated president has also been threatening to take over the entire D.C. government.
We have to run D.C. This has to be the best run place in the country, not the worst run place in the country.
Can he really do all of that? Under the Home Rule Act of 1973, which gave the district self-governing power, the president can deploy D.C. National Guard troops in the city and can take over control of the city's police force, but only temporarily. Experts say it would take an act of Congress to actually federalize the D.C. government.
But that doesn't mean the president can just take over DC. The president can only act when he's either explicitly authorized by the Constitution directly or when he's empowered by a federal statute. And there's no federal statute that allows, to date, that allows the president of the United States to simply take over local government in DC.
All right, so what do y'all think? Donald Trump wants to take over, and he wants to run D.C. He claims that he can run it better than anybody. Of course, we know his history. He claims he can do anything better than anybody. Remember when he first came into office, he claimed he knew the military better than the generals that run the military. The career military officers and NCOs. Trump claimed that he knows more about the military than they do. Now, mind you, Trump's a draft dodging coward. He's never served. 5 times he got deferments to avoid service. And but this is the man who y'all voted for to be our commander in chief, our top executive. I don't understand it. But this latest, just when I thought that it couldn't get any stupider, because that's what it's just all stupid. This comes up. He wants to take over Washington, D.C. And as you heard, constitutionally, he could, if there were a solid mandate, and giving, clear-cut reasoning for it. But because a Doge employee got carjacked, knock this bullshit off. Mr. Trump, crime is down in Washington, D.C. It's been going down for the past couple of years, actually. And it's not out of control as you would try to portray it. We have crime all across this country. There's crime all around the world. So let me tell all Donald Trump is trying to do right now is turn DC into his personal Pyongyang or Beijing or Kremlin. This is just the next step in him solidifying himself as a dictator here in America. We gotta stop this bullshit, y'all. We gotta fight against it. I don't know what the solution is going to be. Honestly, I feel like it's going to take a military solution to get rid of Trump because, it's clear cut that he's doing everything he can to basically abolish the Constitution, write laws that only apply at his wish. Did I say that right? I'm so fucked up right now with what's going on. I can't even get my own words together. I'm starting to sound like Trump, and who's a bumbling idiot most of the time when he gives speeches anywhere. But listen, we have to do something. Personally, I don't think that we're gonna have. I don't think that we're gonna have elections in 2028. I really don't. I'm kind of skeptical about next year's midterms. If we have them, I'm pretty sure they're going to be fixed in Trump's favor because the Republican-led Congress definitely doesn't want to give up power. And even if they did, I don't think Trump would abide by anything anyway. I think he has a solid foothold right now. And I really don't believe there's any way that we can get him out legislatively. So we're going to have to figure out how to 86-47 in 2028. So I hope you all are ready. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens come election time. So, hope everybody had a safe and fun-filled weekend. Myself, I didn't do much. Spent a lot of time with my grandbabies, which is what I've been doing a lot of lately. And it's something that's very important to me because I'm going to be straight with you all, okay? I have a terminal illness, okay? For real, which is part of the reason why I'm not as active as I used to be. And I'm dealing with it. I'm not letting it stop me from living, though. But there are some things that I just don't do anymore. at this point, I'm just trying to stay healthy. I'm trying to be grateful every day that I wake up, and just trying to enjoy life, what life I have left. I'm definitely not going to see America in a better place before I go, but hopefully, hopefully y'all will keep up the good fight, and keep pressing forward. I worry about my kids and my grandkids, and you know what I'll be leaving behind, for them to deal with, because that's exactly what'll be happening. With me and my generation, our generation, we're definitely leaving behind a big mess for them to clean up, and hopefully they will be able to clean it up. I never in my wildest dreams, never once would have imagined that the United States would be where it is today, with a literal asswipe trying to install himself as a dictator. I never thought it would happen, but it happened. 34 count convicted felon, draft dodging coward, adjudicated sexual predator. I'm going to say that every time I broadcast, because you all need to know. If I know a lot of you don't want to hear it, but you're going to hear it, goddammit, because it needs to be said, and it needs to be said loudly and often until it gets through your thick skulls that for y'all that supported this bullshit, y'all fucked up America. You don't love America. You really don't, because you put Donald Trump in office twice, 2 times. Twice you asked for this bullshit. So that's where we are. That's where we are. You know what though? Forget about it tonight. I don't even want to get stuck on all this because half of y'all don't listen. A lot of times I get so many maggots trying to get my videos taken down when I'm talking about Trump and his screwed up administration. YouTube, TikTok, they're both forever sending violation notices out to me, saying that I promote hate speech, this, that, or the other. And y'all know me. I don't hate anything or anybody, and I don't attack anything or anybody except for our screwed up government. I will continue fighting the good fight. There are a lot of y'all out there podcasting and webcasting and doing your thing, and and I'm not in competition with none of y'all, for one. I'm just one dude here in South Florida who likes to come on, and every now and then I say something that somebody actually likes to hear. So but I'm not in it for the money, so there's no profit being made here. I don't ask for donations. I'm not selling shit. So this is a safe space for you to come to. I planned on having a guest tonight, but they crapped out because a lot of people don't get their lives in order, and they get sidetracked, and they get just caught up with life. And I ain't mad at them at all, because it happens to me a lot lately too. Big coffee drinker, y'all. My favorite, Bustelo. So if y'all are coffee drinkers, get you some Bustelo. It's some good stuff. You save yourself a lot of money too. I don't know why people like Starbucks so much. That shit's nasty. But anyway, back to the story. Let's see. Donald Trump's taking over Washington, D.C. We hear possibly tomorrow there's going to be an announcement of a potential deployment of 1,000 troops to the D.C. area. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to lock down the streets or block the highways and start asking people for travel papers or what. I don't know. But if this happens, you all need to take note and understand what that means for us. When a president can just, randomly deploy troops and take over a city, because he doesn't like the way the city's being run. Um, I hadn't realized too how gaudy the White House has become. I watched the video just the other day, and they showed Donald Trump standing in front of the door at the Oval Office, and there's all this gold and bullshit all over the door, and I said, this guy's really trying to make himself look like Putin, or Kim Jong Un. He wants to be a strong man so bad. He wants to be King Donald, and he just looks like a fucking idiot, and the whole world is laughing at us. The whole world is laughing at us crazy Americans because we actually put this fool in office. And I don't know, there's just really no more to say about it. I mean, what can be said? What can be done? You know what I mean? I don't want to call for a revolution, but it might be time for another American revolution. It really might be. Like I said, I think in 2028 it's gonna require a military option to get this guy out of office. Legally, constitutionally, he can't run again. But they're working, on amending the Constitution through this bought and paid for Congress and Supreme Court to allow him to remain in office for a third term. And I say a forever term because I think he wants to be just like the Chinese leader, president for life. You know what I mean? And I think that the whole Trump crime family is looking to lock themselves in, for a long time, to be in power and in control of everything. And no thanks to billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. You know what I mean? These guys are doing whatever they can to kiss the ring, because without them, Trump, couldn't accomplish anything. You know what I'm saying? Without the billionaires on his side, and without Congress, co-signing his bullshit, and then the Supreme Court signing off on it, making it the law of the land or whatever. Trump couldn't get away with any of this, and so many people. I have to laugh too every day, when I'm listening to Trump supporters out here, and I'm like, oh my God, you're still supporting this nonsense? I really just don't understand it. And I know I keep saying it, and I like to think I'm a smart guy. I'm an intelligent dude, finished high school and everything, and started several businesses over the years and did pretty well for myself, but I just don't understand this that we're in now. It's crazy to me. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. But we got what we got. We got what we got because a lot of people didn't participate in the system. A lot of people's, put their blinders on and just said, fuck it. They don't care, and I get it. Our government's been screwed up for a long time. Our system's been screwed up for a long time. But we still have to participate, y'all. We have to get involved at every level. And this is what happens when you get complacent, and enough people don't give a damn. We get what we got, so what's next? America has a long history of fucking around and finding out. We have a long history of realizing shit when it's too late, and then we gotta fight to get back on track. It's gonna take probably 50 to 100 years to get us moving in the right direction again. What's another? Oh, this Israel taking over Gaza. I saw that coming a couple of years ago. When this war started, I saw that happening. And Benjamin Netanyahu now says he's going to occupy Gaza City, okay? And he is working really, really hard to eliminate the Palestinian people. It's genocide, y'all. It's genocide. And anybody that can't admit that and can't see that, then you're just as fucked up as Israel is. And I'm not talking about the Jewish people. So knock it off with the anti-Semitism. I've gotten some emails and messages about being anti-Semitic. Knock off the bullshit. First of all, Jews don't have the monopoly on being Semites. Okay, Palestinians are Semites too. In fact, Arabs are the largest Semitic group in the world. So knock it off. All right, with the, if you don't, you speak out against the Israeli government, and all of a sudden they want to label you a anti-Semitic, radical or whatever. Listen, I got nothing against the Jewish religion and the people that practice Judaism. I do have a problem with your government, though. Your government is being run by a war criminal, okay? It's being run by a war criminal. Now, here's another thing. The Ukrainian situation, Ukrainian-Russian war, okay? Trump is meeting with Vladimir Putin Friday in Alaska. And when that report came out, the first thing that came to my mind was, wait a minute, Vladimir Putin has an international warrant out for his arrest. And the U.S. is a part of that, or at least we were at one time. Maybe Donald Trump pulled us out of that treaty. But Vladimir Putin's going to meet with Trump in Alaska. Now, like I said, I don't know if the U.S. is still a part of that agreement in which, the United Nations, members, have to arrest on sight, these people that have these international warrants. But Trump has an international warrant. He's been accused of being a war criminal, and he needs to be taken to trial, on the world stage. But he's going to meet Donald Trump, who is a 34-time convicted felon, 5-time draft dodger, coward, adjudicated sex offender, all of that. I'm going to say it every time, y'all. So they're going to meet to have talks regarding the Russian-Ukrainian war, but the Ukrainians are not invited to the table. How in the fuck does that work? Explain that to me. How is it that the country that's being attacked, illegally attacked, not invited to the so-called ceasefire talks or peace talks involving them and the aggressing nation that attacked them, Russia? How is it that the United States is gonna go in there and we're gonna meet with Putin and we're gonna talk about this war, but Ukrainians not invited to the table? First of all, why is the United States negotiating anything? You know what I'm saying? If the Ukrainians aren't there too. I don't think Zelensky asked Trump to negotiate anything for him. just don't. I never could understand that. I know a lot of you say, well, it's always been a proxy war for the U.S. and this, that, and the other. And it's been successful, in my opinion, because based on history and previous knowledge of the Russian military, Russia should have been able to knock off Ukraine within a few weeks. Now we're going into what, 4 years now that they're still, they're basically at a stalemate. Ukraine is kicking ass, in my opinion, and a lot of people were saying, oh, Ukraine, they're going to be done, and they just may as well give up. The war is over. It's not over. Russia is struggling. And then some numbers came out just the other day. Stating that the Russians have lost close to 100,000 troops, and the Ukrainians have lost about 20,000. That sounds way lopsided. Oh, and then not to mention the North Korean troops that have been fighting on the side of Russia. They've been getting slaughtered on the battlefield, I mean, all they've been is cannon fodder. They just create a target-rich environment for the Ukrainian forces because they have no clue, no combat experience whatsoever. The Russians had a little bit of combat experience. I mean, their last major war was back in the 80s against Afghanistan, and Afghanistan kicked their asses, and that was that. So anyway. Here's where we are. But it's funny to me that how the United States is going to call for peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, but Ukraine's not invited to the talks. Don't you think Ukraine has a right to speak for themselves? But personally, I don't feel like there should be any talks until Russia withdraws all of their forces. All of their forces. And let me be honest, okay? Let me be honest about the whole situation. This is partially Barack Obama's fault too, because that's the first time the Russians went into Ukraine was during the Obama administration, and Obama didn't do anything about it. He just gave him a pass. He talked a big game, but he didn't do anything about it. So the Russians felt empowered. They were like, hey, U.S. isn't going to do shit, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take some more land. As a matter of fact, we want to wipe Ukraine out. Ukraine doesn't have a right to exist in Russian eyes. Even though Ukraine is older than Russia. Ukraine was here before Russia was here. See, I bet a lot of y'all didn't know that. A lot of you don't know your history anyway, so I don't know why you would know it. Because most MAGA, are high school dropouts, grade school dropouts, and idiots anyway. Yeah, I said it. You maggots are a bunch of uneducated idiots. This is why Donald Trump shut down the Department of Education. He doesn't want y'all to learn anything. He wants you to be stupid. He wants you to remain uneducated. Those are the people that Donald Trump likes, the uneducated, uninformed idiots that support him to this day. So, we got Donald Trump establishing himself as a dictator. We got Israel committing mass genocide against the Palestinian people, which kills me because that's like, as soon as somebody does something against Israel, the first thing they want to scream about is the Holocaust. Okay? The Holocaust. When Nazi Germany tried to exterminate the Jews, Nazi Germany did that. And now Israel is doing the same thing to the Palestinian people. Isn't that freaking ironic? And again, has nothing to do with the Jewish people right now. This is Israel, the government, okay? So, to all my Jewish friends out there, you know good and damn well, I don't hate y'all. I have nothing against y'all. We've been friends for 20, 30 years, and I got nothing against Jewish people. My issue is with the Israeli government. All right. And that's what we need to keep straight. When I say free Palestine, and I'm talking about free Palestine, the land in which Israel was established. It says it in the Jewish charter, in the Israeli charter. The state of Israel established here in this land of Palestine. Okay? So another part of y'all's history that y'all don't obviously want to remember, but it says that, not me. Your charter says that. The state of Israel's charter says that. Okay, so again, I don't have nothing against the Jewish people, but I do have a gripe with the Israeli government. Okay? So let's see. Okay, and then we have Russia and Ukraine. Russia, clearly the aggressor, clearly an illegal invasion. Ukraine was no threat to Russia, ever. Ever. In fact, when the Soviet Union broke up and Ukraine became its own nation again, because, again, let's reiterate, Ukraine was actually here before Russia. But Ukraine gave up all of the nuclear weapons that they had in their possession just to show that they weren't going to be a threat to anyone in the region. They weren't trying to be a military power. They had no aggressive plans whatsoever when the Soviet Union fell apart. They just wanted to live their lives and be left alone. They supplied grain to a lot of Africa, and there are other products that come out of Ukraine, precious metals, minerals and things like that. And Ukraine wasn't bothering nobody. All of this bullshit that Putin made up was exactly that, made up, just like Donald Trump has made up about the immigrants to the United States. Okay? You got to understand, the U.S., a lot of the U.S., most of the U.S. used to be Mexico. Okay? So let's not, let's not be idiots about this shit. A lot of the U.S. used to be Mexico, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. That used to all be Mexico. So technically, Mexicans just want their land back. They're coming back home. You know what I'm saying? We had a big discussion yesterday about the difference between settlers and immigrants, because on this other podcast, this guy said, well, my ancestors were settlers, not immigrants. And so it's like, settlers are worse, because settlers moved to a land with the express purpose of establishing a whole new society. Whereas immigrants move to a land in order to blend in and join an already established society. So all of y'all that was in my inbox yesterday talking about, oh no, they're the same things. Listen, shut the fuck up. Go read a book. Go educate yourself. Okay? Settlers establish society. Immigrants blend into society. Okay? Plain and simple. Pilgrims were settlers. They didn't come here to blend in with the indigenous people that were already here. They came here and they took over. They raped, they pillaged, they brought disease and pestilence, and they stole this land from the people that were already here, people that were already established in their lives. Okay? The Indians had established nations. They had established trade rules and hunting grounds and territories. Just because it didn't conform to what the Europeans would call a civilized, nation or whatever, the European settlers, invaders basically came here and destroyed all of that. And now the descendants of those original settlers are claiming this land, as their own. We're true Americans. We were born here. Yeah, but your ancestors stole it. Not only did your ancestors steal the land, but then they stole my people to come here and work the damn land. Free labor from my ancestors. Let's just be honest, y'all. Let everybody just drop all their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Drop all your feelings, all your emotional baggage, and let's just tell the fucking truth. And then let's figure out how we fix the problem, because shit's just out of control. And I know I'm kind of all over the place tonight. I apologize, but there's just so much that's been aggravating the shit out of me, with what's happening. And I feel so helpless because I know me as one person, there's nothing I can do to change anything, but I can run my mouth, speak up, and hopefully, through that, we can get enough people together, that can move some mountains, that can make some things happen, that can bring about change. It starts with one person, There's a few people that I listen to every day and other podcasts that I watch, and they are very, very inspiring to me, And as I work to become a better broadcaster myself, I take notes and I watch them, in their delivery, because I don't have a great delivery, y'all. I'm not that charismatic dude, that a lot of people like to watch. I know this, and I don't try to be. I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? No gimmicks. I don't use any fancy tools or nothing like that. I just really turn the camera on, turn on the light, and I start talking about what's on my mind. But that's what we all got to do. We gotta open our mouths, y'all. Only way anything's going to change. Open your fucking mouths. If you don't like what you see, say something. It's okay. Don't let these motherfuckers scare you into keeping your mouth shut. And don't become so frustrated with the system that you just throw your hands up and say, I don't give a damn no more. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because when we stop giving a damn, which is what they want us to do, they win. And when I say they, I mean those that are in power, the elites. They're all in the same club. It doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. Elites are elites. They play on all teams, just like we do, at the peasant level. Yes, we're peasants. We're peasants. And as long as we continue to let these elite assholes run the show, we're going to always be peasants. But what's unfortunate that even when some of us peasants rise up to a level of power and become a part of the elite club, for some reason or another, we forget. We forget our morals. We forget our principles. You know, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is very true. But there always has to be we the people. And we the people always have to be vigilant. And we the people always have to be willing to fight for what we want. For a long time, this American government has been working on their own plan, you know, as if the people work for them. But they don't. We don't work for them. They work for us. So don't just let your authority end at the voting booth. Once these motherfuckers get elected, you have to hold them accountable. And if they're not doing their jobs, we need to get out in the streets and we need to let them know, look, motherfucker, straighten up and fly right, or else we're going to get rid of your ass. And we can do it the nice way, or we can do it the not so nice way. I'm up for it. You know what I'm saying? Are you? Are you ready to do whatever needs to be done? Because I see, especially a lot of you fools that I see out here in these streets talk about, oh man, I got to do what I got to do. You know, and you out here fucking up your own neighborhoods with the bullshit. We got so many problems in this country, so many. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully y'all will tune in and you know, listen to me a little bit, you know, watch. Like I said, I'm not the most exciting dude, you know, podcasting or whatever. Definitely not the most interesting, but every now and then I got something to say that might be useful to you. All right, so join in. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, Crazy Baby TV World, right here on YouTube. I don't have shit to sell y'all. I don't push merchandise. I don't push products of any kind. It's just me and one mic. All right, so I'm your man's Ken Jackson. This has been my experience. I will see y'all next time. All right, peace. Have a good night.